As you can see, I'm rich. This is my IRA. I am about to contribute to this one this year in a couple months. But I wanted to redo that video. I'm going to start acting like Lou versus Wall Street. Nothing against the guy. He's a fucking comedian. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show my ugly ass face, but I'm going to make videos and like call you transmiffidites and just kind of talk to you through the video phone. Because my computer broke and I was trying to figure out how to make a silver lining out of this. Because, funny story, it actually broke when I was trying to download a 56,000 by, I think it was 56,000 by 48,000 pixel graph that I was trying to chart of Vanguard and all their ETFs and their ecosystem so I could chart it out visually. But that didn't work out. So, shitty Walmart computer. But anyways, we had a shit day today, the market did. And if you haven't noticed, the last day we had like this for the market, or for our group, was, I believe it was this week right here when we had a gapper downer. So, but I believe the Fed news today was overall, you know, we're fine, this is fine, inflation's fine, we're good. So, I would imagine tomorrow we're going to recover somewhat, but again, you can't see the future. It's just, patience is key here, folks. It really is. I know that it's easy to say that, but when you're in the moment, it's completely different psychology. The more time you practice looking at this shit, and like, even if you buy something and you get out real quick, hey, at least you just learned something, right? You know, that's it. Unfortunately, the old saying is true. You have to. It takes money to make money, right? That's not to say that this isn't an advantage because we have a group of people who are using similar logic. It should be much easier than the traditional, you know, trading. Because, you know, what do you do if you're on your own? You don't have a big group of people who all think the same, who are all doing the same thing, who all have each other's backs and call shit out when it's seen. That's what I'm trying to do here, is put eyes on this market, because this is the first time in history we've ever had, as a human race, in these corrupt-ass markets, the tools that we have at our disposal. And that is big. That is big shit. I mean, there is so much pattern recognition you can do. It's nuts. So I wanted to go and explain a little bit further on these MACD cycles if you wanted to try to catch gaps and what I'm seeing in the pattern. So what do you notice on AGLE? And we're gonna ignore the earnings for right now. We're just gonna pay attention to the gaps and what happens before the gap when the MACD occurs down, and what happens after. So, and I'm hoping that we can just identify these signals from the MACD, and that will simplify this so much fucking better. So what do you see? The price is clearly trending down, and I'm going to highlight it with this crosshair so you can see where my eyes are. My eyes are staring from this candle here to this candle here. So let's go back to this candle here. What do you notice about this candle? If I stay with my finger held down and I keep it on the 15th and I just run it down, where does it end up on the MACD? Okay, perfect. So the 15th MACD, that was the last green day and the start of the downtrend as we see. So what I do then is I zoom in. I zoom in to where that leftmost candle that starts the downtrend is on my screen. And I follow this pattern. The only thing that I'm looking at, get this shit out of here, hold on. It's boggling on my view here. I would recommend just putting the MACD only, get it a little bigger. So what do you see? I don't give a fuck about the MACD, the signal, or the histogram. That can go fuck itself for all I care. What I care about is the fact that this right here is basically from the top of this line here. So this is where the MACD chart starts. It's kind of hard to see. About right there. So right there is where my eyes are scanning. Right above the daily, right there to right there. That's where I'm scanning. And what do you see? You see a straight up diagonal line from the top left of this little box right here. The top left is right there. The bottom right is right there. Right there. Bottom right, top left, way over here. So it looks like a diagonal line going down from top left to bottom right. So you keep going across. Does it keep diagonally moving down towards the right-hand corner of that box that we just highlighted? It does, and it keeps going. And remember, when these lines look like they're going to touch and cross, that's a change in signal. Usually it goes from red to green. It didn't happen here. It almost did, but guess what? That was earnings day, wasn't it? Nothing happened. So it kept going. No gap, no gap, no gap. Still diagonal, still diagonal, still somewhat diagonal. And then what do you notice? It's basically a diagonal line all the way down until it isn't, and then it gaps. So if you see this shit, this long riding MACD on the daily, this is the daily. If you see this pattern, diagonal down, and then it creates, oh my god, then it creates this thing looks like where the genie lives from Aladdin, right here. I'm looking from here, god dang, man, here to here, there to there. Look, pay attention to that shape. Draw it, sketch it, whatever you got to do. You're going to see this shit all over the market, this shape. And it's going to go, and it's going to turn into this. And then this is going to do exactly what this did, but diagonal the opposite direction. So now you'll notice it's starting to go diagonal from the bottom left of the screen to the right top of this box that we highlighted earlier. Between about right there and right there is the measuring zone with your eyes. This is just one example. This is Aggle. Obviously, wouldn't it be fucking nice if all of these gaps down gapped back up? Wouldn't that be sick? Because we're already on the right side of the play, so we'll catch the gap for sure. Anyways, that's AGLE. Let's go to DCT now. What I found in that. So, seeing what you just saw, let's go to this shit. What do you see? A downtrend to a diagonal. But this one is different, and I'll show you why. You keep going, and what happens? This one changes green for one day. Remember how the one we saw in AGLE didn't turn green? It kept going. This one turned green, and then it downgapped, which is weird as fuck. But I think we're going to be able to play on it because it's doing the exact opposite this earnings. So once we get past that difference, what do you see? Not much until you get back to the green side. Now, what do you see? You see that trend, right? It's starting to go up to that diagonal. Diagonal, bottom left to top right. Bottom left to top right. It's getting more pronounced. It's getting more pronounced. It's almost fully diagonal now, right? Well, what's going to fucking happen? It keeps trying to touch, but it won't. Why is that? I think it's going to gap up tomorrow. Which is earnings day, by the way. And let me tell you why. So this is why I think this was different. Zoom out. Go to the last earnings. What happened? Did it gap on earnings? It did not. It gapped the day after earnings. So what do I expect to happen tomorrow? Based on the last trend, I'd say that the MACD tomorrow is going to turn red for one day, and then it's going to gap to the tits up and after hours. Just remember, go back to this one. What happened? Downtrend pattern I just explained into a weird ass fucking uptrend into a down gap. That's fucking weird. But what about this? We have a clear uptrend into a sudden downtrend into probably a fucking up gap. It's literally the exact opposite. This one, red, green, red. This one, green, red, green. I'm retarded and autistic. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Holy shit.